Assalamu alaikum on this beautiful but cold morning. Wherever you are in the country, I hope it's warm and comforting. Welcome to this week's Nur the Light. Our journey in this week's episode kicks off in the business hub of Gauteng, where we met with Human Rights Commissioner Advocate Amir Mia.
The South African Human Rights Commission is instrumental in protecting and safeguarding the human rights of all South Africans, proactively rectifying any violations brought before it by way of investigations and public hearings. The Commission advocates awareness on human rights issues and ensuring the public is educated on what their human rights are. The Human Rights Commission is governed by 7 commissioners appointed by the President and assigned to specific provinces and areas of focus specified in the Bill of Rights.
The role of a commissioner and the Human Rights Commission is basically to champion human rights on behalf of the nation, to protect, promote and advance human rights. And when there are violations, we must nip it in the bud. That's the long and the short of the role of a Human Rights Commission. Obviously, it's a constitutional appointment. You're appointed by Parliament by the President for a period of 7 years, in which time you have national mandates. In my case, I have a national mandate on access to justice and the right to housing. And I have oversight over 2 provinces, which is the Northwest Province and the Free State Province. We are saying that the Human Rights Commission is a vanguard and a watchdog of championing human rights and advancing human rights in this country. If we fail in that duty, obviously we'll fail the nation.
On the 2nd of February 2014, Advocate Mohammed Shafi Amir Mia was appointed to the Commission by President Jacob Zuma for a 7-year term. His experience in the public sphere on legal and socio-economic issues stood him in good stead to take on the vital role.
His portfolio area is around access to housing and access to justice as well. And from the work that he's done in the time that I'm here, I can see he's extremely passionate about that work. And he's the type of person that really wants to get a full sense of the issues. So he engages with the different stakeholders, because often these issues are very political. And the challenge is that between government and civil society, for example, you'd have a lot of conflict in terms of how they see these issues. But I think he's been really good in terms of bringing the parties together around an issue and trying to flag the critical response that is required, particularly for people in the communities who are often not the ones that have the voice in terms of accessing housing, for example, or justice.
Advocate Amir Mia spearheads 2 portfolios, namely the right to access to housing and justice, with the chief goal of promoting the rights of the poor majority of the country.
So in the Human Rights Commission, the role of the commissioners have changed slightly from previous years. Initially, they had a more kind of oversight role. But with the changes in legislation in 2030, they've become the executive authority. So in a sense, the commissioners now drive the programs of the Human Rights Commission. And as the Secretariat, we are there to support their program areas. And the way in which they work is that each commissioner has a focus area or focus areas. And then they plan every financial year for what the focus of their work will be for that period. And we align ourselves from a research, legal services and so on point of view to make sure that we support them.
Through his legal expertise, Advocate Amir Mia has made history, recovering 37 million rand to the Limpopo Education Department due to contractual fraud, one of the largest contractual fraud cases in South Africa. He has also contributed to the building of over 50,000 RDP homes in Limpopo.
Personally, I think it's a privilege and honor to serve my country in the capacity as a human rights commissioner. I think I come from a human rights activist background, and throughout my career I've been championing that. A fundamental question I asked myself in the very formative years of my life was that, what do I want to do when I finish law school? And I said, I want to become a human rights lawyer. And then when I graduated and I then thought about how best I can fit that outfit, I then decided to join the NGO first, and where I did research on various human rights issues around local government and service delivery. And that took me into this new adventure.
Please, Mohammed, please come forward. This moment is about you, and you need to be here.
Advocate Amira Mir has recently been honoured with the Robert G. Story International Award for Leadership. He's become the first South African to receive this prestigious award, and it affirms his role as a leader as well as the integrity he exemplifies. Aware of the many obstacles and challenges ahead, it is his vision to galvanize the Bill of Rights from a worded document to practical action and lived reality for all South African citizens. A mammoth task he is more than willing to undertake.
Life coach Nariman Riches has now become a regular feature on the couch, and I'm sure many of you will agree with me when I say that her knowledge and insight has helped us live more fulfilling lives. Shukran and Assalamu alaikum, Nariman.
Wa alaikum salam, Maryam.
Today's topic looks at how we deal with the loss of a loved one. Why do we struggle to let go of someone we've lost?
Yes, Maryam, the grieving process is, for some people, that can be quite a long process. It's an individual process, firstly. In Islam, you shouldn't be mourning for a long period of time. But the struggle really is when you lose someone unexpectedly and you didn't perhaps have time to say goodbye or make amends or just get closure. And so everybody deals with that in a different way. And energetically, we might want to hold on to that person by keeping things alive, things that they were attached to alive in our lives and in our homes.
And how do we move on from the death of someone we love?
I think the way to do that is to first of all try and reframe death in our minds, because for us death just seemed to be so final. And if we can reframe that to look at it as new beginnings as opposed to endings, not just for the person who's passed on, but for us as well. Everything has a beginning and end. And so if we can become conscious and aware of that and value the times that we spend with people, so that when relationships end in death, that we can know now that new things will start now in our lives, and the loved one who's passed on carries on in a new world.
Okay, so why do we feel that we're betraying our loved one if we move on and live life to the fullest?
Because again, we had an idea in our head that this was going to last forever. And sometimes we make promises to people in our lives, lifetime with them. And when it ends, it's as if we are now betraying them if we don't now stay sad in the sadness of losing them. I think that again, going back to reframing it and not seeing it as a betrayal. And people also struggle with this when there's been no closure. If there was something unsaid, if something was hanging between people and death happens, there's a lot of regret, sometimes anger. But again, if we can reframe it in our minds and just know that they are happy where they are, and they would not want anything other than happiness for us.
I hope these answers will help those dealing with loss, and may Allah make it easy as they cope with it. Shukran, Sister Nariman Riches, for the wise counsel.
Inshallah, I hope everything's made easy for those who have lost a loved one, and shukran for having me again.
Sleep is one of the most important bodily function, but most of us don't get either enough or proper sleep. We explore this topic.
On average, we spend a third of our lives asleep, and not unlike food deprivation, a lack of sleep is likely to result in death. The crucial importance of sleep is missed in the bustle of 21st century living, and very little is known about the more than 80 sleeping disorders affecting millions across the globe. Sleep apnea is one of them.
What we do know is that we do need to sleep, and that without sleep we develop symptoms. We develop psychological symptoms, we develop physical symptoms, and in essence, we also develop abnormalities in our physiology. So if someone's getting chronically sleep deprived, very high risk of developing anxiety disorders, depression, problems with their concentration and attention, symptoms of attention deficit, very common. We know that if you deprive people long enough and chronically enough, that their immune system suffers. So they develop coughs and colds more regularly, they can get the flu more frequently. There's more evidence now to show that long-term sleep disruption is a risk factor for developing cancer.
Sleep apnea is the periodic disruption of the breath during sleep. The affected wake up to 100 times during slumber. This partial awakening of the brain makes quality shut-eye impossible, leading to extreme fatigue and compromising one's health. Yet, alarmingly, 80% of cases remain undiagnosed.
What happens in sleep apnea is your airway collapses on itself whilst you're breathing. And when the airway collapses, you can't get any air to your lungs. Your body becomes deprived of air, and as a result, you become deprived of oxygen. Your heart works over time. And eventually your brain realizes something is wrong and then wakes you up, and that's when you gasp for air. Sleep apnea has several types of sleep apnea. There's the most common type is called obstructive sleep apnea, and this is the type of sleep apnea most of us are familiar with. It usually occurs in men over 40 who are overweight. They've got a history of snoring. Their wives will tell you they gasp for air at night. More often than not, the men have been asked to move to another bedroom. Now, sleep apnea is a very treatable condition. The dangers of sleep apnea are firstly medical. You develop complications. High blood pressure, I've mentioned, diabetes is another one, metabolic syndrome. And all of these are related to your being obese and being deprived of oxygen at night.
A relatively young field, sleep has been at the center of scientific study since the mid-20th century. In the Quran and Hadiths, sleep is rightly given weighty significance, referencing sleep variations with modern science would later label as the 5 stages of sleep.
Sleep is a necessary component for our existence. As we need to eat, drink, we also need to sleep for our proper well-being. And therefore the Quran so beautifully refers to the 2 natural phenomena by saying, وَجَعَلْنَا اللَّيْلَ لِبَاسًا وَجَعَلْنَا النَّهَارَ مَعَاشًا. Meaning, Allah says, I have created for you the night as a covering and the day as a time of interaction and socializing. So in order for us to socialize healthily and to interact with one another, first and foremost, we need proper sleep, proper rest in order to function perfectly and to the best of our ability. So yes, according to Islam, sleep is an important component, as important as eating and drinking itself.
The Constantia Sleep Center is one of the leading neurophysiological treatment facilities in the Western Cape, offering potential remedy to sleep apnea sufferers. Here, patients are observed overnight in the sleep laboratory and treated to international standards.
80 to 90% of people with obstructive sleep apnea have a weak airway that collapses, and that is treated with a device called a CPAP machine that pumps pressurized air into the airway, preventing it from collapsing. And these machines are pretty nifty and very smart. So they can sense the pressure at which the airway is collapsing and pumps air in just above that pressure and acts as a splint to keep the airway open. But sleep apnea can also be treated by using a dental device called a mandibular advancement splint. Thirdly, surgical treatments. Again, every patient needs to be assessed as an individual depending on what their clinical presentation is.
The fundamental need for sleep is all too often lost on the mundanity of routine. Cautioned as one of the many signs of the might of Allah, it is certain that He is the one who has made the night a mantle for you and sleep a rest. Surah 25 Al-Furqan, Ayah 47.
It's time now for our travel segment, and we're heading to the beautiful Northwest Province to see what we can get up to there.
South Africa is home to many game lodges, but few of them cater to the Muslim market. Luckily, there's one just outside the town of Rustenburg, where Muslim guests can experience the amazing creation of Allah.
We have the most variety of predators in South Africa. We have the world's first strawberry leopard in captivity. It's like something went wrong. So we didn't even know when he was born what it is. So we did some research, Animal Planet were here, and it's only 3 in the whole world, and he's the first in captivity. We have lions, white lions, tigers, white tigers, a wolf, spotted hyenas, striped hyenas, the lemurs, black jaguars, black leopards, normal leopards, so we have a lot of predators.
Visitors are able to interact with the animals by feeding, petting, or even just taking a walk with them. The game farm features some uncommon as well as one-of-a-kind predators as well.
We hand raise all the animals, so they are tamed, but still you have to respect them. They're still wild animals, so we go in with the guests. So firstly, safety. They first do predator viewing. They see all our animals and then the animals they can interact with. They go inside, touch a big lion, big cheetahs, the lemurs and the babies. So they get hands-on with the animals. I'll encourage anyone to come here because where else would you be able to touch a lion and experience the animals that you see on TV? We are 100% halal. We have burgers, sandwiches, breakfast. So we open at 8 till 5 every day as well, the restaurant.
A visit to this lodge is a must, as it's only a short drive from the major cities of Johannesburg and Pretoria. Their souvenir shop is well stocked, and with everything halal, there's no need to bring along any food. Smaller towns are often difficult places to find halal food, but with Rustenburg's sizable Muslim population, a new venue caters exclusively to their tastes.
Our menu is not so big. We've got a limited menu. Basically, our sandwiches are fantastic. The burgers, the signature trademark on our burgers. Our steaks are unbelievable. Then, basically, that's our fast-moving items. The bun started off. We want to experiment in something not too big, not too small. Just a perfect dish for a person. And it came out fantastic. We got 2 dishes on it. Your lamb dish and your steak dish on the bun-bunnies. It's quite lovely. The sauces, we mix our own sauces. And unfortunately, we don't give the recipe out. But the sauces are divine.
The portions are huge, so be prepared to come hungry or leave with a doggy bag filled with their delicious meals. The restaurant and cafe prides itself on placing the customer first.
We wanted to create a family environment. The food is by the way. When on a weekend you get your families that come here, families book for 20-25 seats at a time. They have birthday parties here, the kids enjoy themselves. We've got ample parking, we've got a security guards here. The place is quite safe. And we cater for our customers to the best what we can do. We also start introducing a Wi-Fi system here, that a hotspot, and we cater for everybody. Whether you're a normal person from the street, you walk into this establishment, we'll address you with sir or ma'am.
As a family-run establishment, service and quality remains top of their priority. It's a place where friends and family meet to pass away hours filled with yummy food, and they often return again and again. If you're looking for some adrenaline rushing through your veins, then Magaliesburg Canopy Tours is just the place to visit. This is a bucket list item for many, and it's well worth a trip out here.
The Magaliesburg Canopy Tour consists of 11 platforms and is connected with 10 slides. So at the office, you do get a safety briefing. You drive up onto the mountain with 2 trained guides. You come into the system, you get clicked on. Everybody's welcome to come and do the Magaliesburg Canopy Tour. We do clients from 6 to about 70 years old. However, we did introduce kiddies harnesses, where we do younger clients as well.
After getting strapped in, jump on a truck that whizzes up the mountain to the edge of a canyon dating back thousands of years.
We do have trained guides, and they have at least a first aid level 1 course. We do a refreshment course every 3 months. where the guides come up and they do a rescue process on the system. So if something should happen, we do have trained guides that are prepared to deal with any emergency that we might have. We do start at 6:30 to 4:30 in the afternoon, but that's in the summer period. During winter, we start at 8 to about 3:30 in the afternoon. Every half an hour, we do takeout tours.
Few things can compare with the sheer delight of sliding over a gorge while hanging from a harness. The canyon tour can be over sooner than expected, but the memories live on for a long time.
And here I thought Northwest was only famous for Sun City. Alhamdulillah, we live in a truly amazing country. People from all over the world come to vacation here, and we have it right on our doorstep. Shukran for tuning in. Don't forget to tell your family and friends to join us as well every week. From me, Mara Mukwanda, Salang Hantle. Assalamu alaikum.
Asking for a sign from you, 'cause I'm so broke inside. I'm feeling lost, this world has me so confused. All these nights I'm praying I can be the one that you guide. Ya Rab, I pray you keep me safe from walking off the path astray. I need you, I trust you, my love is just for you. My Lord, I will never put anything above you. I need you, I trust you, I can't do without you. My Lord, I will never put anything above you. I know that you can hear me, the thoughts in my mind and the words that I whisper. I know you're here with me, but I still end up in sin, and I wish that I didn't. Oh Lord, forgive me. I messed around when I knew much better. This world can break a heart into it. Now that I know this, I'll never leave you. If I ever leave this path, don't let me go. Don't let me live a life that's void of you, my Lord. It's hard to walk the path when so many have fallen. So Lord, won't you send down all of your blessings? Oh, Rabbi, I know you bring back those who seek you, Lord. I'm trying every day to be the one that will have your love even when I go. Someone said to me once, how if I've sinned as much as the ocean, you'd still forgive like it was never done. I remember what I used to be, a lost soul that just couldn't see. I drowned in my own